Good evening. Thank you for joining us for our Eye on Asia webinar series. We are glad to have about close to 115 attendees with us today from Singapore and beyond, and more are coming in as we speak. Before we start, please allow us to run through some housekeeping to ensure that everyone can enjoy this session. Please take note that we will be recording this session. Once our program starts, you will be muted with your video function off. These are the sample screens on how the chat and Q&A functions will look like on your screen. Tap on the three dots and you should see a text box appear. To return to the presentation slide or speaker video view, click close at the top left corner of your screen. Please post your questions using the Q&A function after the speaker's presentation, which will be addressed during the Q&A segment. Today's topic is Digital Transformation in ASEAN, Leaving No One Behind. We are happy to have Ms. Sook Hoon Cheah, the General Manager for Southeast Asia New Markets at Microsoft Asia Pacific. Sook Hoon has 27 years of technology experience and is a 23-year veteran of Microsoft. As the General Manager of Southeast Asia New Markets, she is responsible for accelerating customers' digital transformation in the region and scaling up partner ecosystems across Bangladesh, Bhutan, Brunei, Cambodia, Laos, Maldives, Myanmar, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. Eye on Asia is a collaborative effort by the National Library Singapore with partners to provide resources for Singaporeans who wish to find out more about the region and explore internationalization opportunities abroad, focusing on ASEAN countries, China, and India, including emerging cities. Eye on Asia offers an overview of useful resources and programs to help you be more aware of the developments in these countries as Singapore gears itself for the future economy. Microsoft is dedicated to advancing human and organizational achievement. Its mission is grounded in both the world in which we live and the future we strive to create. Microsoft does business in 170 countries and are made up of 144,000 passionate employees dedicated to fulfilling its mission of helping you and your organization achieve more. I will now pass the session to Sook Hoon. Thank you.
Thank you. A very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining and hope everyone is keeping safe and well. I want to thank the National Library Singapore, Eye on Asia, for the invitation. The topic of leaving no one behind has taken on a more significant meaning. We've encountered so much adversity with the pandemic, but nothing could be more inspirational than the resilience we've witnessed, the power of people coming together for a purpose. We've seen amazing displays of agility and creativity as each of us navigate in a new world, a new life for ourselves, our family, our business, and our communities. We saw the world coming to a standstill early this year, confronted by something that's unprecedented by both public health and economic crisis, loss of lives and livelihood, as well as systemic issues on racial injustice and inequity in our societies. These are global issues and require global response. During this pandemic situation, the biggest learning is that no business is immune to a crisis and that no organization is 100% resilient. But it has also taught us that digital business and those fortified with some digital capabilities have been able to pivot more rapidly and to respond to their customers' needs. So this pandemic has accelerated technology. The adoption of AI is quintessential. In fact, we are seeing 2 years of digital transformation happening in 2 months. In the Chinese language, the word crisis, 危机, is composed of 2 characters, one representing danger and the other opportunity. 10 years ago, there were just two tech companies in the top 10, Apple and Microsoft, and they accounted for 19% of S&P 500 with a common market cap of about 1.8 trillion. And now fast forward into 2020, 7 out of the 10 are tech, and they account for 27% of S&P 500 and account for 7.4 trillion. So there is no best practice for us to wait and to adopt because the pandemic is hitting us hard all at the same time. We have witnessed how individuals, communities, governments, organizations, and all coming together in confronting this, shown leadership, maintain business continuity, and navigate what we call the respond, the recover, and the reimagine phases. The respond, or what we call the survival phase, is a react, a resolve, and a storming stage. Managing acute crisis urgently, every moment is critical. In the recover stage, some call it the living phase. We are looking at managing the return to a normal state of health, of mind, of strength. It's about regaining control. And the reimagine phase, this is thriving phase, right? This is where shaping is happening, transforming and reforming. And some view this as the opportunity to claiming new frontier, the uncharted geographies, or new revenue streams. At this stage, I'd like to know from the audience, where are you in the respond, recover, reimagine phase? Okay, interesting. Thank you. Thank you for all your responses. So we are at the recover. Actually, majority of them at the recover, but it's quite a good balance of respond and reimagine as well. So let me move on to each of the three phases, and I'll be sharing with you what we're seeing and the real customer experiences and examples. So let's begin with the respond or the survival phase. The world is at an inflection point. Unless and until we ensure that every community thrives, the world will not thrive. Every country, whether it's developed or developing, every community, urban or rural, every business, small or large, every worker, first line or knowledge worker, and every person, including the 1 billion people with disabilities. Fundamentally, every life is valuable. In healthcare, we are seeing surge in telehealth, where more than 50% of primary care visit is conducted virtually. The development of vaccines from a typical 10 years to 12 to 18 months. In Korea, reduction of contact tracing time from 24 hours in early February to less than 10 minutes by the end of March. Australian healthcare provider, Austin Health, it took less than 2 weeks to deploy Microsoft Teams to support communications and collaboration among its 8,500 personnel and patients. The developing countries are also innovating at a breakneck speed. In Myanmar, an early detect app, Sook Hoon Cheah, which runs on Microsoft Azure, tracks and monitors the chances of getting infected by using GPS in mobile app. It calculates whether you're in close contact with someone infected with COVID based on your travel history. In this crisis, governments are also challenged to have coordinated crisis response, coordinated first response, where various agencies need real-time situational awareness, cross-agency communication, alignment, and effective citizen engagement. As an example, we are seeing the COVID-19 Presidential Task Force in Sri Lanka using Microsoft Teams in connecting 9 governors and 25 provincial directors on a daily basis to access ongoing situational in the country and to assist rapid decision making. The recover phase. According to the World Bank forecast, the global economy will shrink by 5.2% this year. This would represent the deepest recession since World War II. We've witnessed oil prices collapsing as demand is stalling, and there's also shock warning that the global oil consumption could be pushed back by a decade. So this is an exceptional moment in history, and over the past several months, we've all been put to test. I want to call one example. A lot of you may be familiar with Sri Lanka, the renowned tea industry. This is a multi-million-dollar industry that relies on the Colombo tea auction, a weekly event that has been held in the national capital for the last 150 years. This virtual, unfortunately, ended in mid-March, as it was just impossible for the traditional tea auction to follow social distancing and other health guidelines. A cloud-based virtual e-auction system was developed to keep buyers and sellers socially distanced, safeguarding this 150-year industry, and protects the lives of almost 2 million people. We have also witnessed how the Bangladesh Supreme Court, which has 27,000 active lawyers with over 500,000 hearing sessions, managed to clear the severe backlogs of more than 100,000 bail applications, all under 1 month. This was achieved with the technologies, with Microsoft Teams, with scheduling, video conferencing, recording, and file sharing. In the education front, virtual graduations from Japan to the Philippines and even here in Singapore, where Temasek Polytechnic held their graduation ceremony in Minecraft. The reimagine phase. So indeed, the ability to innovate has become essential to the survival and success of businesses everywhere. 74% of business decision makers we spoke to in Asia Pacific is saying that innovation is now a must. Take governments, for example. Their top priority is to continue to deliver critical citizen services. Remote government is now at the forefront of every government's mind, and the opportunity to reshape and to transform the citizen experience in the most connected and personalized way. And similarly, maintaining the primary functions of government, executing on the continuity of operations plan. In the Philippines, Maldives, and Thailand, governments were able to keep their countries' judiciary system and parliaments going by embracing digitization. So when you think about how nearly 40,000 people were able to achieve liberty and go home to their worried families in the Philippines, that just shows you how technology transforms life. In Bhutan, as the country is moving from aid status to trade status, they need to ensure highest productivity in their agricultural. A mobile app called Sonam, which is developed for the farmers, to capture data that will help the ministry to get information on the total production of homegrown vegetables, location of the products, the types of production, and these information will then be used to visualize the supply and the demand of the population and will further help in deciding what are the products that need to be imported for consumption or where the government should invest for production. So let us take a pause as well, and I want to connect with the audience to find out from you. So due to COVID-19, what is the anticipated change in IT spend in your organization in 2020 as compared to 2019? Wow, increase of 10%, technology. Yes, I think we all see the importance of digital in this era. So 47% on increasing more than 10%, 41% are seeing an increase between 1 to 10%, and then the rest is kind of no change and very few on the decrease. So very much aligned to that is technology is at the center of how the companies that I've shared earlier on and many more to respond, to recover, and to reimagine. We are seeing 12 technology teams that emerge out from COVID. Cloud is becoming a commodity, and we're seeing the next cloud era is the one that is data-driven with co-innovation approach. We're seeing an unemployment exceeding more than 147 million across the globe. Job losses of between 5 and 7% of total employment are projected for Asia this year. The digital divide has widened, especially those with little or no basic digital skills, including those with lower incomes, women, and underrepresented minorities. To help address this, Microsoft has launched a global skills initiative aimed at bringing more digital skills to 25 million people worldwide. This initiative will bring together every part of our company, combining existing and new resources from LinkedIn, GitHub, and Microsoft Learn. It is a comprehensive, coordinated effort to address learning needs, content, certification, preparing for job, connecting the services like LinkedIn, and over time, authenticate credentials. An example, the American International University Bangladesh, AIUB, which is one of the leading private universities in the country, adopted to the new normal to continue education. With Microsoft 365 Education, which provides a customized hub for class teamwork with Microsoft Teams that includes video meetings, online versions of the Office 365 apps, AIUB is able to onboard more than 13,000 students, faculty members, and all of their administrative staff just within 4 days. So let me actually now pause and also ask a question around skilling. We're really interested in the skilling. Considering where you are right now, what is your approach in terms of resourcing? Retain and skill, hire new skill, outsourcing, redundancy or furlough, no action or kind of still figuring out the way? Okay, here we go. 62% will retain and reskill their employees. That's great. Followed by 26 hiring new skills. And very close to that, it's status quo remain. We work together to develop deep understanding and trusted partnership in this rapidly evolving market landscape, delivering impact and helping everyone to navigate this respond, the recover, and the reimagine phases. And from our technological platform and stack leadership in leading digital transformations across industries, where 95% of Fortune 500 is on Microsoft Azure. So to the grounded principles of trust, security, and responsible innovation, our skilling initiatives at scale that I just spoke about, while building local economy surplus, and finally, our sustainability and societal commitment to this world that we all live in. I'd like us to take a bit of a further look into sustainability. So key to our innovation approach is sustainability, the pressing issue to protect the world's ecosystems and the threat of climate change. It literally is impacting everyone in every corner of the globe in an increasingly alarming ways. And while no single company can resolve the world's problems, it is clear we are all going to need to do something more and act urgently. We announced our ambitious sustainability goals, and we focus on the areas where we have the greatest impact, which include carbon, ecosystems, water, and waste across all that we do. Microsoft will be carbon negative by 2030, and by 2050, we will remove all the carbon emitted directly or from electrical consumption since the company was founded in 1975. We aim to be zero waste for Microsoft direct operations, products, and packaging by 2030. We're launching a $1 billion climate innovation fund to accelerate the development of carbon reduction and removal technologies. Our tech and AI for good initiatives spans for accessibility too. So out of the 8 billion people, there is about 1.3 billion with disability. And our commitment is to bring improvement in their daily lives, gain independence, employment opportunities, and inclusive in communications and connections. Humanitarian, technology and AI are also being used for disaster response, refugees, and displaced people. There's approximately 65 million people displaced. And to protect human rights, the needs of children from cyberbullying, abuse, racial and social injustice. Cultural heritage, we're leveraging AI to preserve and enrich key monuments, artifacts for future generations to explore and to experience. In Mexico, for example, Microsoft Translator was used to preserve two of their endangered languages. So to me, this one slide really highlights why Microsoft. And I think that's what captured in our mission of empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And this is very awe-inspiring, audacious, and a humbling mission. And personally, for me, having been with the company for over 23 years and in the industry for more than 27, what truly drives home and proud is that the impact is far-reaching, lasting, and truly leaving no one behind. So with that, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm happy to take any questions and clarifications that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Sook Hoon. The first question is, you mentioned of using Azure throughout the solutions offered by Microsoft. There are so many cloud solution providers in the market. Tell us what makes Azure different than others.
Let me start by saying, fundamentally, we are a platform company, right? It is that rich stack, the technology that we take to you, to every customer, every business, every market, so that you become great at your own best. You become the best bank, the best retailer, the most competitive small businesses, the most efficient governments, health outcomes, education outcomes. It is really this whole depth and breadth of opportunity that's what gives meaning to what we do. And so I like to share that we have 61 data center regions worldwide, more than any other cloud provider. In fact, we announced 7 new data center regions the last fiscal year alone. We're innovating to address customer needs across the cloud and the edge. For example, Azure AI and its responsible machine learning capabilities are helping customers to better understand, to protect, and to control data and models. And these are super critical in the world today. We have Azure Arc, where we're providing a single control plane between Azure and workloads in any data center on any cloud. We have also established a zero trust security strategy to maintain business continuity, meet regulatory needs, and to earn our customers' trust. So we help organizations establish secure and compliant digital feedback loops due to our extensive experience, our innovation, and scale. We invest $1 billion annually in security with over 3,500 full-time security professionals using AI tools to analyze over 8 trillion signals daily and respond to the security threats around the world 24/7 in real time. And we infuse this intelligence and insight into our connected cloud security solutions. And so hence, we are the only security vendor that is named as a leader in the 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants. So with all these innovations, so it's no surprise that more than 95% of Fortune 500 use Microsoft Azure.
Okay, the next question is, what is Microsoft digital transformation strategies for ASEAN? Where do you see the challenges and what is Microsoft preferred partners to work together to realize digital transformation goals?
So I think, as I said earlier on, we're leaving no one behind. Our transformation, it's prevalent and it's in Asia, in Europe, in the US. So for us, what is really important is the ability for us to bring united along with our partner ecosystem, focusing, being in the current COVID situation, being the digital first responders to the world's first responders that we are having, supporting frontline workers, pandemic, health, education, public sector, to critical manufacturing, grocery, retail. It really is about accelerating remote everything, beyond in business, agility in education, ensuring that industries continue to thrive, whether it's current situation or it's post-COVID-19 situation. So a few things that I really wanted to share with you is along as examples of some of the industries that we are actually working on. I mentioned about healthcare. Look at e-commerce, offline retailers embracing new models like contactless shopping. We are part of that. Fintech, putting aside physical wallets in favor of digital. The banks harnessing the power of AI to manage risk. We're seeing a lot of born in the cloud trade bank. I quote an example, Anglo Gulf, it's 100% digital banking from concept to live, all in 6 months. And it offers everything from digital payments to multi-currency, multiple rail payment processing and transaction monitoring, manufacturing from discrete to automotive or to even agri-chemical, simulate anything using our digital twins for smart building, smart city, smart space, so that we can enhance this early experience from AI to rapid adoption at scale. We also look into the education part of the business, where remote everything, bringing students, bringing teachers, economic institutions coming together. So for us, we're combining our platform with those thousands of partners, the ISVs, service providers, solution providers, consultative, into the local IP, and we harness this strength together to serve the local needs of the countries. So that's really where we are in terms of a digital transformation in any industries, like we said earlier, across multiple spectrum.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. For students who are about to enter the universities, what kind of skills or field can we take to be part of Microsoft innovation ideas in the future?
So there's a couple of things I think I wanted to make sure we are aware. So studies have shown that 65% of students today will be doing jobs that don't yet exist, okay? And 75% of the world's fastest growing occupations call for STEM skills: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics skills, okay? That's really, and in fact, what we are seeing is that the hiring of engineers in non-tech industries are more than the tech industries. So participation across all, it's absolutely needed in this situation. So what we are actually seeing is that the need for us to have the digital skills, creative problem-solving skills, and collaboration is absolutely needed. Whether you want to proceed into finance, there is IT finance who's looking at how the ROI of investment is happening. We're seeing cloud architect across the industries where agencies, government agencies, are looking at how they can embrace and bring on the economy to serve the particular ministries. We're seeing consultation in driving that particular motion that is relevant for a particular industry. So where we are right now is the ability for us to apply critical thinking, dealing in ambiguity, and that's the skill we're seeing more and more what students are needed in the new world. The transformation are happening at so fast, as we said, right? 2 years of transformation in 2 months. And so the idea here really is about understanding the transferable skill and having a growth mindset for us to embrace the new technology and to address the most calling needs of any organizations or any country.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. What are the key highlights in digital transformation that is impacting us today?
Key highlights, wow. It's a lot of highlights actually. I think first of all, we are breaking down the digital divide. The accessibility, the democratization of cloud to everyone is truly bringing everyone to what we call a platform that used to be available or accessible or can be afforded by the big organizations or the affordable governments. With the democratization of technology and a cloud, and I talk about Azure obviously, is that any businesses, big or small, students, developers are all coming together to leverage this cloud and the edge that we actually would provide. So that is, for me, I would actually say that is one of the highlights. The second thing is really about developers. So if you think about it the old ways, and I was a developer, a long time ago, right? What we're trying to do is that we want to give developer the tools to power remote development, productivity, collaboration, no matter where they are. So the code spaces will allow, for example, developer to quickly provision a dev box in the cloud, for example. You can work from any device or even just a web browser, and to have that powerful developer machine hosted on Azure, of course, for fast code to build, to debug. It is really all about, low code, no code. So bringing together what we call the most used and the most loved developer tools on any platform, and that the developers actually become more productive than ever. With our GitHub, we have GitHub developers around the world that they can collaborate and build software together. So that speeds up your development cycle and also reduce your cost. What we are also seeing highlight would be around the digital transformation and remote on business operations from manufacturing, supply chain, sales, and customer service. Customer service, including new services like curbside pickup, contactless shopping, remote customer assistance. And I think especially right now, we look at the increase of fraud, right? Our Dynamics 365, I've given an example. Fraud protection would include account protection to combat some of the fake accounts creation, fraud account detection, and the fraudulent cross access, and the loss prevention. So that's really where we're looking at. And areas of, give an example of retailer, maybe helping retailer to reimagine the store experience. Dynamics 365, connected store, have exciting project now that includes traffic analytics, so store manager can easily track the number of customer in the space and ensuring, they are within certain capacity, as well as some social distancing guidelines. And so they recognize, where are the customers as they approach the store, so that all these curbside pickup, pre-order are all ready as soon as the customer pulls up. Microsoft 365, of course, I think we know the way we work, the way we learn, experience has changed so dramatically. Bringing together working norms, organization needs this whole comprehensive solution that brings communication, collaboration, business processes together. And I think it used to be that people or developer can create and add value, but now what we have is our Power Platform that literally, if you can actually just build an Excel, you can actually then be able to build some code, simple code, low code, no code, like we say, to actually add value to your organization. So those are some of the things that I would actually say highlight on the innovation, on the transformation that we are seeing. So again, what I wanted to say is that if you can use a formula in Excel code, you can create app and build an agent and automate workflow to analyze your data in the Power Platform. Those are the highlights, I would say.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. How do you think students in tertiary institutions can contribute to digital transformation in ASEAN?
I think it's not just students in tertiary, right? I think like I was sharing earlier on, across all the industries, we all can add value. We all can contribute to this journey or the transformation. I mean, the government would need help, the organizations, the various industries that we are seeing It's really all needed. So back to the earlier questions around skills, I think be empathetic about what the real issue, the real purpose that's on hand, an ability for us to then actually build on those, collaborating, because now the world is flattened, right? You can actually work with anyone from anywhere. An ability for us to actually leverage and tap on these technology to help. So it's not just treasury, for example. So I liked us to kind of take it on and elevate to the contribution that we can actually have. And for those who are even passionate along the lines of societal commitment, sustainability, there are more opportunity than ever for us to actually lean in, given some of the facts and the data that I shared earlier on.
Okay, here's the next question. With the acceleration of remote everything, how do you advise to maintain a healthy work-life balance?
So indeed, this is actually a very front and center on people's mind. The mental health, right? The mental health that people are going through, and the physical distancing. I actually like to say I would prefer to use the words physical distancing than social distancing. I personally think as we human, we are social animals. And so with technology, it really shouldn't reduce that social distancing component. What we are seeing is that with reduced commute time, we're realizing that our employees are working longer hours, and managers are setting up calls and meetings after hours. And after a couple of weeks and even months, the risk of burnout is indeed a very serious concern. We're really seeing it. And so my view and my advice would be, as leaders, we need to be more empathetic. We need to understand everyone has very different home scenarios and circumstance with kids, and siblings and parents. And because we are in Asia, as you know, we are a multi-generation homes, right? So the flexibility in work timings, creating that virtual employee engagement opportunity is important. In Microsoft, as an example, we have digital skills, we have DJ, we have yoga session, we have meditation, coffee chats with team lunch. What we are also seeing is be very mindful of career, because at the back of their mind, career progression concerns, right? How do we assess performance is going to be very critical, because what we're seeing actually is that those introverts are delivering while working from home. And so-called the star players, the extroverts, are struggling. The flexibility is needed. Like say, it's, nearly half, which is about 47% of people working from home, reported managing at home is a distraction. It is a challenge. So organizations, as well as managers and teammates, have to be a bit more flexible in the delivery of work. Looking at impact as an example and empathizing with the challenges. Technical training, as an example, is growing staple for all employees, and it actually goes hand in hand to unlock the potential of what we have out there. And then it would also say incorporating some social elements. The culture is critical. The culture, the colleagues are crucial to feeling connected. So this is the quest, like I said again, human interaction. The number of people that's turning on the video has doubled more than ever. And beyond that, we need to find ways to encourage innovation, creative flows. And I think some organization, at least for Microsoft, we have this thing called the Employee Assistance Program that can help with anyone who needs professional help as well. So, it is absolutely agree and critical for us to encourage the camaraderie, right? That makes an employee feel valued, belong, and part of the organization.
Okay, we move to the next question. We saw many countries going through lockdown for months. We saw many businesses struggling to survive. What are the measures that Microsoft has taken to empower the businesses?
I think I shared a lot on the the productivity. So the moment it was a shutdown, we looked into how we can help governments, individuals, organizations, as I said earlier on, right, to make sure that they have business continuity, the resilience continue. And our teams, our technology, bringing people together to make sure that acute and important, critical, essential operations continue on. We're connected to the healthcare systems to make sure lives are saved. On top of it, if you look into the protection of SMEs, right? SMEs, they need to make sure that they are still able to run the business in a very constrained physical distancing situation that they are unfortunately faced with because of all these government mandated social distancing, physical and business closure. So organizations are trying their best to use the digital capabilities, right? To actually position themselves into the cloud. How are they going to be able to actually continue creating the virtual and digital services so to help them secure their customers? So those are the technologies that we bring forth. We bring in the teams, like I said earlier on our education. We continue to make sure that students are not disconnected. They continue to have their education, their experiences with their teachers, and also and very importantly, these governments, if you think about them having to continue the important citizen services, bringing on together the development and the skills initiative. So we spoke a lot about earlier on, right? That this whole transformation require the search of digital skills. So the 25 million initiatives that we just announced recently is one where we believe we can help customers, partners, organizations around the globe to ride on this and help fill the gap that we're seeing in the world.
Okay, thank you, Sook Hoon. Due to time constraints, we cannot answer all the questions, so we will have to close the Q&A now. Before we end the session, may we invite you to scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the chat to an online survey form to help us improve our future programs. Okay, this is a QR code that you see on the screen, so please help us by scanning the QR code. Thank you, everyone. We have come to the end of the program and hope that you have enjoyed the session. The next Eye on Asia's webinar series will be in November. Please look out for it. Do visit the Eye on Asia website to learn more about the initiative. Have a good evening.